How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here, the TurboGrafx-16, one of my favorite systems of all time. I love the US games, but there are so many great import games. There are so many games that came out in Japan that never came out in the United States of America. We're going to talk about some of those in this video. What I love about imports is you might find something that never came out in the US, and then it's something that's very, very familiar. Or you pop it in, you're just like, well, I don't know the language, but I can play this. And then every once in a while you'll find something that's like, well, like whatever this is. Now, I personally have a PC Engine Duo that will let me play my PC Engine games. However, whatever way you gotta play them, man, this is 15 great PC Engine games. 15 great TurboGrafx-16 games that came out in Japan only that you don't even need to know Japanese to play them. You can just pop them in and go to town. Up first is Gekisha Boy, which is like Photograph Boy, and I love this game. I wish we'd see another game like it. Now, I'm playing the English patched version, but I didn't need to know Japanese to learn how to play this game. You play a photographer, and your job is to take pictures of random things you see around town. Now, at the beginning, the person might say, hey, I need a picture of this, so you gotta give them a picture of that. But along the way, if you take other weird pictures, you'll get more film that you can use to get more photos and more photography and more points and all that too. Simply in just playing the stage, you'll see all this weird stuff happening around you, and you have to focus on it. It's like, I know something's gonna happen, I know something's gonna happen, and as soon as it does, take that picture, because it might be some great score for you, or it might be, you know, what the person's looking for. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening all over the place, so it's okay if you mess up, because you can always go back through and try it again. This is Gekisha Boy. It might be called Photograph Boy, and it's absolutely awesome. Hey, what about the Batman game we never got? This Batman game plays more like a maze game, and there's a couple of games that look kind of like this for the TurboGrafx-16. You have to make your way through the level, avoid the bad guys, or you can use your little batarang, which will make them confused, which will knock them out, basically. You have to pick up all the items in each stage, and then by doing so, you move on to the next stage. It's one of those kind of games. The more you move on, the harder it gets. You know how that goes. There's even a very, very familiar song in this game that you hear the TurboGrafx-16 version of it. And you can't go wrong with Batman, really. And this is just a fun version of a Batman game, because usually the other Batman games are like dark and gritty, and this one's just fun. Well, here we have Dragon Egg, and Dragon Egg is a great cartoon action platformer. You start off with a little girl with your egg that you use as your weapon, and the more you get these items, the more the egg hatches and turns, you know, the egg into a baby dragon, which you will also use as a weapon, and then eventually into a larger dragon and even a bigger dragon. And hopefully you have that bigger dragon when it comes to these boss battles, because you're going to need it. Dragon Egg's super awesome. You should check it out if you can. Did you know they made a Die Hard game that only came out in Japan? Well, that's no fair. And it plays pretty decently. I like the fact that it was a Die Hard game that came out in Japan and did not come out in the United States. However, it plays kind of like an Ikari Warriors, kind of, I guess. Has a top-down view, and you can go inside these bunkers and get, you know, better guns and whatever. Yeah, very Ikari Warriors, very kind of commando, I guess. I mean, it plays like it looks. It does. I still have quite a ways before I make it to the tower, but you get the idea. Here's Doko Don. Doko Don, I suppose? It's another bubble type game, but you play as these guys with these hammers. And the hammers are or what your weapon is. You smash the enemy, you pick them up, and then you toss them into the other enemies. And again, they turn into fruit, because that's what these bubble type games do. Don't forget to eat your fruit, I guess. Another fun two-player game from Taito for the PC Engine. This game is your Alice in Wonderland. It's like Fushigi, no, something or other Alice. It's Alice in Wonderland. You play Alice in your Wonderland in a fun cartoon platformer. I like how your weapon is you yelling. Your weapon is you screaming. And the more you hold it down and let go, the louder your yell is, which I guess equates to stronger power. Of course it does. You'll see familiar type Alice in Wonderland characters as enemies. Believe it or not, it's a little bit harder of a platformer than some of the other games that look like this, but you'll get the hang of it really quickly. It's a fun one. It's a fun one. Okay, Fushigi no Yume no Alice is the name of this game. All right, here we go. Yeah, but again, Alice in Wonderland. Come on. Aoi Blink, but it's like Blue Blink. Either way, I'm sure it's based on an anime series that we never got. But this game's actually kind of fun. You play as a lead character, and then you have two other characters kind of tailing behind you in this platformer. And it's another one of those, you move through the stage, you get your money. Even has a little map screen that you can choose where you want to go next. And then your characters even swap out sometimes, which is kind of cool. I remember picking this up on a whim where it's just like, I don't know anything about this game, but I'll buy it because it's like $5, and I'm so glad I picked up this game. Now, Circus Lido is a interesting puzzle kind of game. It looks like it would be kind of a darker Bubble Bobble style, and it kind of is. You play this gecko, this chameleon, I guess, who eats these enemies with your tongue. You can also use your tongue to pull yourself up to these upper platforms. But once you eat the enemy, and you spit him out into a ball, but you want to spit the enemy out into these, I don't know if they're like Audrey 2s or what they are, but that's what you do. And once you do that to all of the enemies, then the stage is clear. And then you move through the hole and you move on to the next level. Just another one of those weird kind of puzzle games. It's like, well, that's something I hadn't heard of, something worth talking about. Maybe you haven't heard of it. Just another one of those kind of weird puzzle games that we never got in the United States, so figured it was worth mentioning. Now, the TurboGrafx-16, well known for its shooters. Let's talk about some of them, including Toilet Kids. Yeah. I'm moving on to the next screen before anything happens, and Toilet Kids is one of those games you play because you just want to see what the enemies look like. You just want to see what you're up against. It has some crazy, crazy characters. Something that will make like the kids giggle when they see them, and something that makes me giggle when I see them. So Toilet Kids is, I mean, at its core, it's a decent shooter. It plays a lot like Twinbee. But Download, however. Now, Download may be my favorite shooter for all of the PC Engine TurboGrafx-16. You start out choosing your weapons, and you fly around on this kind of Akira bike in the post-apocalyptic area here, at least in the first stage. Just love how it looks, love how it feels. Love how you can see the first boss in the background, and then, you know, at the end of the stage, it actually comes into the foreground. Defeat the boss, move on. There's Download. Love this game. There is a Download 2 for the PC Engine CD, and that will be another video for another time. Another great classic arcade game, P-47. I played a lot of P-47 in the arcade. I like this game a lot because you played as an actual airplane. So many shooters, especially for the TurboGrafx-16, you play as like, you know, a spaceship or something like that. But this was just a legit, you're an airplane. You're a P-47, you're a Thunderbolt. And that's what I loved about this game. So it's, to me, that was, you know, up the alley of why I really liked it. And like other shooters, you get your weapon upgrade. You can also not really drop bomb. Well, there's bomb type stuffs. But P-47 ranks very high on my list for great shooters for the TurboGrafx-16 or PC Engine, both of them. Another fun shooter to point out, Burning Angels on this one. I liked it because when you start out, you're not even moving. You're just like stationary fighting this giant boss, and then you go from there. But then once you go from there, that's when you find all your weapons and your upgrades and all that too, so yeah, Burning Angels is pretty cool. I think it's Rabio Lepus Special. Sometimes this game's called Rabbit Punch. I see it referred to as Rabbit Punch sometimes, which is a game I played in the arcade in Seaside, Oregon, in like the late 80s, early 90s, and I loved this game. I just like the fact that you play as a bunny. I mean, to me, that was the seller. 2-player on this one if you wish. You can check this game out. It's fun. Pretty hard too. I didn't do very well in this playthrough. I think the game is pronounced Barunba, and it is another shooter. What makes this unique is it has that kind of Forgotten Worlds feel where one button is fire, but then the other button and the start button are to rotate your turrets, 360 degrees one way or the other way. So if the enemies are coming above you, you can shoot above you. If they're coming at, if you're coming in at your 9 o'clock, you can flip your thing around, or whatever position you need to be shooting, you can rotate your gun turret in that direction. Which makes this game kind of fun, and it also makes it challenging because sometimes I'm hitting the wrong button and it's going clockwise instead of counterclockwise. But still, even if you don't mind, you can just flip it all around. It's all good. Another anime game, City Hunter on this one. The controls could have been tighter on this, but it's still worth checking out just because it's City Hunter, and I love the City Hunter, the anime. I saw the movie stars Jackie Chan. If you haven't seen that, that's worth checking out. You just move through the stage, you can go inside some of these doors and get what you need. Yeah, they made a City Hunter game for the PC Engine. I'm not surprised it didn't come out in America, but yeah, it's all good. And I'm always looking for new suggestions for PC Engine games, so let me know what are some other great games that you don't need to know Japanese to play, or if there's an English translation patch, I'd be down for that too. A lot more must-play games. Check out All Kinds for all kinds of systems. Consider being a Patreon. Consider subscribing. I'll see you so soon.